Hello everyone, I'm the storyteller and I'm here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before that, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching now? Get comfortable and relax. Winterborn, the storm of 77. No one in Cold Brook had ever seen a winter like this. On December 3rd, 1977, the blizzard rolled in without warning, thick as death and twice as cold. The wind howled like a pack of wolves, tearing through trees and snapping power lines. Snow piled up against doors and windows, burying cars and trapping people inside their homes. By the second day, the town was cut off from the world. No radio, no television, no way in or out. By the fifth day, the food was running out. By the seventh, the voices began. They came at night, whispering through the walls, curling through the cracks like smoke. Promises of warmth, of food, of salvation. They were soft at first, like a mother's lullaby. Then they grew stronger, more insistent. And then people started disappearing. The hunger Sarah Givens had lived in Cold Brook her whole life. She was tough, like most Mainers, used to harsh winters and rough living. But this storm was different. She sat in her kitchen, wrapped in 3 blankets, staring at the dwindling supply of canned goods on the table. Her husband, Mark, had gone out 2 days ago to check on the neighbors. He hadn't come back. She wasn't the only one missing someone. The Delaney's boy, gone. Old Mrs. Carter, who lived by the church, gone. No footprints in the snow. No signs of struggle. Just gone. And the voices kept whispering. The offer. It was around midnight when Sarah first truly heard it. Not just a whisper, but a voice. A voice speaking directly to her. Sarah. She froze, breath fogging in the air. You don't have to be cold anymore. She squeezed her eyes shut. It was in her head. Had to be. You're hungry. You're tired. I can help you. No, she whispered. The voice chuckled. Soon. The next morning, she found the first body. The first sacrifice. Paul Anders was a burly man, ex-military, built like a tank. No way a storm could take him down. And yet, there he was, lying in the snow behind his house, half buried. His face was peaceful, like he'd simply laid down and gone to sleep. Except for his hands. They were burned black, charred, as if he touched something red hot in the middle of the freezing cold. Sarah ran. She ran through the knee-deep snow, past the silent houses, past the flickering street lamps buried in ice. She needed to find someone, anyone, who still had their wits about them. She found Sheriff Albright holed up in his office, shotgun across his lap, eyes wild. You hear it too, don't you? She panted. He just nodded. The truth in the snow. Albright had figured it out. This thing, whatever it is, it's feeding off us, off the town. It's been here before. He shoved an old book into her hands, one of those local history collections that every small town has. the kind no one ever really reads. She skimmed the yellowed pages. December 1821. Lost winter. The entire town of Cold Brook disappeared. Vanished overnight. January 1893. The black blizzard. Reports of a storm that lasted for weeks. No survivors. February 1938. The last feast. A record snowfall. A town lost to madness. Every 40 years. It wasn't just a storm. It was a cycle. It was something old. Something hungry. And now it was back. The voice in the wind. Outside, the snow was still falling, thick as ever. It was past her ankles now, past her knees. It wasn't stopping. It wasn't going to stop. The voice came again, curling around her ears like a lover's whisper. You understand now, don't you? This town is mine. A gust of wind slammed into her, knocking her to the ground. She felt it then, not just the cold, but something deeper. A presence, a thing in the storm. She looked up, and in the swirling snow, she saw a figure, tall, hollow-eyed, grinning. Its skin was ice. Its breath was frost. Its eyes burned like embers. Winterborn. The storm wasn't just a blizzard. It was him. And he wanted them all. The last stand. Sarah and Albright knew what had to be done. The town was lost, but they could stop it from spreading, from happening again. There was only one way: fire. They gathered the last of the gasoline from the station. They soaked the sheriff's office, the church, the homes, every building. Sarah stood at the edge of town, match in hand, the voice screaming in her head. No, you don't have to do this. She struck the match. The fire roared to life. Flames licked at the buildings, the old wood catching fast. Smoke filled the air, thick and black. The snow hissed as it melted, the wind shrieking, furious. And the thing in the storm screamed. For the first time, it sounded afraid. The aftermath. By morning, Cold Brook was gone. Nothing left but ash and embers. Sarah stood at the edge of what used to be her home. The cold biting at her face. The storm was breaking. The first rays of sun cutting through the gray sky. Albright stood beside her, silent. Do you think it's really gone? She asked. He didn't answer, because they both knew the truth. 40 years from now, another storm would come, and Winterborn would rise again. The end.